one player for the winner's match has already been decided. Classic narrowly defeats Yun 2-1. And now we're going to our second match of the group. It's going to be TY up against Rogue.
TVZ, the best matchup in the entire world, Wolf. Doesn't matter what game or...
It's what people want to see.
It's what everyone wants to see. I had nowhere to go with that except down.
Let's take a look at these bans. We have Expedition Lost and Cactus Valley banned by TY. No real surprise there. And Rogue taking out Vani and Coda. So pretty much everything you'd expect.
Yeah, Rogue doesn't want to go near the maps where Mech is potentially a powerful option. Iron Fortress, Terraform, and Echo. I think we're going to see some pretty healthy, Mutiling Bane up against Biomine. I almost said Biotang. We're not back in Wings of Liberty. It should be some pretty exciting games there. Both these players have a lot of potential to do great things.
Sure. Now, it's Starleague. Both these players have incredible win rates in this matchup. TY at 70% and Rogue 5-1 at like 83%. It's not a huge sample size, but it is important to note for this type of tournament that they actually are both very well versed in this matchup. Talking to you about this in the commercial break just before this, I feel like we really just don't know what can happen with these two. It really depends on their condition and their level of play at this moment today, because I feel like they're really at similar levels, and they've both shown so much inconsistency in the past that you really can't say one player is favored over the other.
It's such a hit and miss. I mean, TY has been getting better and better. Like, he seemed to recover from his giant slump he had towards the start of the year. And Rogue, he's like this guy that we've seen come in here, play some amazing games and play some devastating games. He's very emotional. I think it's really going to come down to how that first game goes for him. Is he going to be in a good place after it? We're going to really tell that by the look at his face, because he shows it big time.
Yeah. Very emotional player, much better in best of ones. He's always trying to have his moment in one of these Star Leagues. Just hasn't had it yet. He always makes it to the group stage, qualifies for Star League, he's in it, and then just doesn't go far. Let's see which one of these players is going to take the lead in game number 1. To the top right, it's TY.
It almost looked like Rogue had a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's cool, but bad. So bad it's roguelike. And up here in the top left, we do have the Zerg player, Rogue. Looking to make a mark once again in a Star League. Hasn't found that success yet.
So when we get into this first game, in the early game, I want to talk about these two players' logos a little bit, because I think they're both really cool. Rogue is known to be somewhat of a playboy. It's kind of the personality, true or not, but people call him that, right? So his nickname is Sexy Boy, so he's got the S logo with 2 arrows on the end of it, take it as you will, and the lollipop sort of thing. So that's kind of this joke. TY, on the other hand, this is a pretty good depiction of his logo by Star399. His name Taeyong is like a reference to the sun, so that's where his sun logo comes from. There, that's why he's shown eating the sun chip, which is a popular snack, of course, in Korea. And on the other hand, for the siege tank there, TY is known for using siege tanks in somewhat unusual ways. Oftentimes using siege tanks in matchups where they're not really used anymore. Actually, the siege tank in general is not really something we see in any matchup massed. We saw him try to do it in Pro League, and it failed miserably as well.
I mean, what are you going to do when you try tanks against Protoss like that?
Yeah.
Never going to work. You know what? In these positions, I could see it working, actually. If Rogue was to take that base towards TY at some point, you could put a tank there. You could actually stop the mining very, very easily. I'm sure now that Rogue knows exactly where TY is, he's going to think to expand towards the south of his main base, take those bases further and further down. He doesn't want to get anywhere near that kind of situation.
Sure. Let's see what TY is known for. TY is going for a CC first here, as you would expect to see him do on this map. It's just such a big 4-player map.
He is a player that is very inspired by Flash. They are practice partners after all, and he sits in the same house as Flash.
Sure.
So I do see a lot of Flash rubbing off on him in terms of build orders and openings and stylistically in general.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes you could see a little bit of it in the reverse-wise. Like, Flash was almost never adding siege tanks into the early game to defend against roach pushes, and he was dying to it a lot. Now you see him add that siege tank in almost every time just for safety, something that TY does, and actually I feel like he will do in this game as well, even blindly. Rogue went for double hatch before pool, so he's got a great economy to follow this up. It's an important early drone scout. He sent cross spawns. Then he got the Overlord scout, so he knew exactly what was up. He knew exactly what sort of build that he was going in, so he could actually do this. TY is actually scouting incorrectly now to the bottom right, as he hasn't sent any sort of scouting out this game, so this is a bit unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of time to play with that SCV though. He's going the Hellions very quickly behind one Marine, so he's really playing the greedy game, playing the fairly risky, I'd have to say. He's got no defense basically. Even when Hellions come out, if there was a roach timing beyond this, he could be in just a lot of trouble. There is what he's going to have. He's going to have Hellions to defend and one Marine.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised he doesn't go for the tank. He obviously still could a little bit later on.
I think the tank is probably more geared towards maps where you can defend, roughly the second and third base on. In this map, the tank would have to be in the middle of nowhere to even have a chance of trying to fire from both sides.
True.
So it does make sense that he might want to try and avoid it this time around, but on the other maps like Deadwing or other maps where everything is so compact in one corner, it makes a great deal of sense.
Well, here's his first scout of these queens. He's going to know exactly where he's scouted, or rather where he spawned. He's also going to see the hatch timing here with his SCV, and he's like, oh, wow, that creep's way out there. You've had that. You went double hatch for a pool.
Yeah, look at this. 2 Hellions on the map already. We do see run-bys with 2 Hellions on occasion. Does TY want to invest in that?
Well, it would synergize well with his medevac fall, as long as he doesn't lose these. We get a few drone kills. That's going to be 2. Might get a third. And so many lings out. Speed's about to finish. He's actually going to lose these, I think.
Yeah, if he loses these, actually, it becomes such a big blunder for TY because he needs the Hellions for map control right now. He needs to stay in control of this map for as long as possible. Considering he is, down a base already. He played a gritty build, but Rogue played it grittier.
That was a great micro from both players, by the way. Okay, Lings are still trying to go for this. Unfortunately, not going to happen. Leaves the weakened Hellion at home. We'll get a repair job, but the rest of the Hellions, 1 yellow, 3 fully, freshly healthy. We're going to go for that drop on the main base.
Yeah, we're going to see a run-by at the same time on the natural here. If he gets us around on these 2 Hellions and Marine, maybe he can get the job done, but it looks like TY on point.
Yeah, even using the SCV to continue repairing. Few Lings will get in the main base. Looks like they're going for that reactor. He's got plenty of Lings here, as well as a Spore Claw, which is going to help zone out with these queens. He actually might lose that medevac if he's not careful.
Taking a lot of damage. He might actually have to give it up.
Oh, man, he's going to make an armory in front of the Ling as well.
Oh.
No way you saw that, right?
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid
he did see it.
Did he click on it is the other question here, because that was a stray Ling, and usually you'd want to forget about that after a while and focus on everything else.
Yeah, it's like, it could be, the way it looks, it might be an eBay. He might think it's that what's going up there.
It could be. We don't really see any reaction to it either. We just see Lings and a lot of drones and spores on the way. So he's preparing for that Cloak Banshee, but beyond that, Hellbats are going to be a surprise.
Yeah, this could actually do a lot. Keep in mind, this is probably going to be a transition into mech if he doesn't win with this, because he has simply no bio whatsoever. He's just going pure Hellion and Banshee.
Right now, we only have 4 queens as well, mind you. That is actually going to be a big problem, because you need a lot of queens with your Lings if you want to try and shut this down without the use of Banelings, without the use of roaches. So, well, here we go.
Here we go, indeed.
Are morphing.
Hellbats activated. Hellbats coming into the main base.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, they're ready here, but good micro on these Hellbats, splitting them, using the Banshee, but still cleaned up a lot of those, and now the Queen should clean this up easily.
Yeah, 4 queens and all these Lings should shut down this completely. Still, the third base kind of exposed right now, and a lot of damage on these drones.
He has 1 Hellion in Hellion mode that could actually be chasing and destroying those right now, but it looks like...
Oh, he's not paying attention.
Yeah, Rogue is really dropping the ball here on this defense.
Well, he can actually clean this up with pure Lings at this point, and more Hellions.
He's losing so much mining time, and the transition to mech back at home is just already ongoing.
He's going to lose so many drones. This is actually critical damage right now. It looked all fine for Rogue to a point, but then the drones actually had to leave the base. He wasn't paying attention to that third base for the longest amount of time.
Oh, man, these Lings cannot funnel through here. A funny reaction that cloaked that Banshee versus the Lings, but we've all done it. We've all done it.
Wow. Oh, well.
Spire's nearly done, and he doesn't have like much anti-air at all. In fact, I just don't think he even has his eBay up still. He can make a Thor if he scans this, and there's the scan. Wow, right as I was saying it.
Yeah, well, he can go into Vikings, he can go into turrets from here. With 3 factories on the way, you know, he's still on 2 gas. Oh, sorry, 2 bases of gas, so 4 gases all up. That's not really enough to support that many factories, but he's taken that 3rd now. And it doesn't look like Rogue is really in a place to try and stop it from going down as well. He took too much damage on that 3rd base. He has no 4th base on the way. He doesn't have the tech to fight against this mech build either.
Yeah, he's just now getting his Roach one. The only thing he has is Mutalisk, but he doesn't have enough gas to actually produce enough Mutalisk to do any damage.
Rogue has actually been really caught out in this game. That attack did more damage than it should have, and he did not stay on top of his scouting of that main base. This is coming as a surprise to him, and you never want that situation as a Zerg player.
He's going to have +1. He can go into 2-1 with the double armory he's going to have in just a moment. I feel like had he clicked on that armory, this would have been a totally different game. He was like so close to scouting it.
Well, he had Banelings out in time for it anyway, but he just didn't have enough to follow up for the defense of that 3rd base, so he had to stop mining completely with a fully saturated drone count and run around the map getting chased by a Banshee.
I love how TY is following this up. He's repairing all of his units. He's making sure that he gets the most out of every single unit he's produced this game. The first few Mutalisks will arrive here right before the first 3 Thors, but he's got even a turret here as well. Yeah, that's okay if he has to cancel a depot. He's got a turret here. He's going to take some damage, but this is not the damage that Rogue wants. Rogue wants much more than this.
I think TY is going to be gearing up for a massive Thor Banshee push at some point soon. Ooh, nice little run by with the Lings. If you can get rid of these 2 Hellbats, try and zone out the rest. So there's 1 Hellbat at the back there. It's going to create a big problem. Getting rid of the turret there, that opens up options.
Yeah, now he can kill the Viking as well. And oh, these Banelings are coming in as well.
Oh, nearly finding their way in there.
Could have been so good. The potential was there, but
it would have been a beautiful thing. Instead, it kind of zones out everything for a little bit longer, but now 2 Thors are in the mix. It's going to be able to shut down these mutas.
You know, that was almost enough damage, but it cost him a lot of gas in those Banelings. It did cost a little bit of mine time for TY, but that timing push you're talking about, I think, is what we're going to see.
I think we are going to see that at some point, though. That certainly did slow down TY and distract him just a little. But look at this. We are seeing 1-1, you know, melee and carapace upgrades on the way, so no investment into Roaches or Hydras in this game. He wants to go straight to Ultralisks from here, which is a kind of an interesting composition, but it's also a dangerous choice considering the situation and considering what TY is gearing up to go for.
Yeah, and during all this time, Rogue has been able to saturate 80 drones, so his economy is kind of on fire. He's going to have that hive.
You know, it's not always about that economy there. Look at the army supplies right now.
It's true. It's long as you can get away with it, you know. But the push that's coming up is so strong. He sees this Baneling attack here, shuts it down, killing several of those. And now there's a few siege tanks out to support these Thors as well.
Yeah, look at that. 4 siege tanks at a time are being made, and now some Vikings as well. Hive finally finishes up here. Down goes that Ultralisk cabin. So he's got to try and buy time for just a little while longer. He has so many Lings on the map with his mutas to aim for a counterattack to distract for as long as possible. But here we go.
A ton of SCVs come up with this push. Here come those Lings like you were talking about. He doesn't have any answer for them. Just going to lose every SCV that he doesn't run away, and probably going to have to lift his base. Sending Banshees home alone to defend this is not going to be enough. He needs to raise that depot.
The Lings get in anyway.
Oh, this could be really, really bad. It's going to be tough for those reinforcements, but still, Rogue has to answer for this push that's coming across the map.
If he can get on top of the production up here, maybe he has a great chance of like putting it in a very sort of base trading kind of situation, but all the production, all the infrastructure is still intact for Rogue for now. Only now is the mech army getting to his base.
All of those Lings are not with this fight. 8 Ultralisks started. That's going to be all of his bank. And the Banshees are not with this army, so the siege tanks and the Thors are going to have to target really well.
Wow, Queen's cleaning up tanks to the back.
This is huge, and he's just going to continue to transfuse them. He's not losing any of them.
This is a bit of a mistake that TY can't afford, but I think his mind is elsewhere right now, trying to damage control from all sides. You see that 3rd base still getting attacked by, it looks like the Mutalisks.
And these Queens are, you know, going to deal with these Banshees. He does not want Banshees to be fighting the Queens. He wants the Banshees to support this army. Ultras are going to start popping out one by one. There's one right next to this army. Needs to be targeted, needs to be dealt with. Meanwhile, there's Mutalisks, just a few of them, just 6 Mutalisks back there, forcing a lift on that CC. This hatchery will go down. Here comes the Ultras.
Oh, so much damage from those Thors, though. Shuts down the first one.
But
right
a
out
few
the
more.
gate. Oh, 4 Banshees in the main.
Oh, and these Banshees have +2.
Softening them up. And look at that positioning at the bottom of the ramp. There's no way Ultras can fight into this.
Oh, and the SCV is going to block the ramp. The Queens need to transfuse. They come from behind on the rest of these Ultras. But so much damage already done to them here.
Those Ultras from behind are going to clutch everything. And the transfuse is keeping every Ultra alive at the back.
But still, you know, this is there's still a great number of Hellbots. He has to clean those up. He will. And TY has not. He can save that CC. You know, I feel like Rogue's in a pretty decent spot here. He's down to 2 bases, but so is TY. And TY's army is much more expensive to reproduce.
You know, more Ultras on the way as well. Creep spread's still decent. If he can deny this 3rd base for a little while longer, maybe even jump on top of the army, that is pretty fragile when it comes to dealing with melee units. A lot of tanks in the mix. There's a great chance for Rogue to kind of shut this down and close this game out.
I think so. Well, I misspoke earlier about the CC. It was off. I couldn't see on the mini-map, but he did save it, so that's really important because he is going to be able to
look at this.
hold this.
This is a risky engagement here from Rogue. He's got to be a little bit more careful. You know, Queens are not going to be with those Ultras if they decide to run in.
Yeah, he needs to fight with his Queens if he's going to engage with his Ultralists, especially going up a ramp like that off creep. He has still 6 Queens on the map. He's got a decent amount of larvae, so the Queens could be a little bit more flexible about where they are. You know, they don't all have to be injecting and just kind of keep them around the map. He doesn't have an economy to make a ton of units anyway, so the larva is going to just kind of stockpile anyways. But TY has stabilized with his 3rd base, and this is a problem.
This is a big problem because that army's going to get a lot bigger, a lot quicker.
Yeah. Rogue has a ton of gas right now. His limiting factor is actually his mineral count at this point. He's making a lot of drones to actually kind of help that. Getting now back up to 48 drones.
Look at that drilling clause in the way as well. So he wants to go into mines from here. Not a bad choice against this kind of army. It's a big melee army, so they're going to be forced to run into the mines.
Yeah, and you know they're very cost efficient, easy to produce, and they're also able to ignore armor. You know, the Widowmine damage just goes straight through the Ultra armor.
4 Thors in the way at a time as well. The Thors are a great sort of unit to deal with the Ultralists. They chunk down the damage, as we did see in that fight earlier, tremendously.
Yeah, so much burst damage. If you target with them on a single target, they can kill an Ultralist in like 2 shots. If you've got like 5 or 6 of them, you just boom, burst it all down.
Man, 5 mines at a time and Medivacs in the way, so it looks like he might be gearing up for some mine drops, you know, at the remaining bases of Rogue at this point, which is a brilliant idea considering how fragile both sides in terms of economy is.
What do you think about the Broodlord switch? Do you think it's a good choice, or is it a bit too risky?
I think he's grasping his straws at this point. I think he's actually very desperate. He has to find something, and a tech switch is certainly a trump card that he has.
Well, we are going to see that Widowmine drop, head across the map. This Banshee will get shut down, it looks like. Oh, he escapes with it.
Oh, no, he cannot let that go. And here we go, a mine drop. He's found one of the newly made bases, trying to fix the economy. Drilling claws, moments from finishing, and here it goes. They just finished up.
4 mines going down, and these Ultras going to eat massive damage as well. Only 2 drone kills. The Ultras can be transfused. They're going to heal up that damage. Second wave of Widowmines, though, coming into this 4th. And good control here.
Very nice done.
Another one. Oh, this is going to be huge. Okay, just 4. That's still decent.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Could have been disastrous,
and
but
it's just stopping units from mining as well. You know, forcing everything to get pulled at least once. Look at the supply difference.
So many mines, man.
So many mines. Oh my goodness.
Ouch. 13.
He's going to save at least 2 of them. And while this is all happening, you know, he's getting his 4th base up and running again. The army is nearly maxed out for TY. There's just no answer for Rogue at this point.
This has been a pretty exciting game just because it's been one of the most dynamic mech versus Zerg games that we've ever seen on this map because these positions. The Broodlords, he is producing Vikings for them right now. He has enough Thors, I feel, to zone them out. So this is going to be tough to actually make work, but if he can slowly whittle away at this mech, it could work out, but his economy is trash right now. He's got 40 drones. He's lost so much larva, so much mining time. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's 36 drones to 68 SCVs, not to mention mules. And here we go. He's going to try for the front here.
Thor's in anti-air mode as well.
It's all about getting to them, though. You know, Broodling's going to tie things up. Ultra's on the ground, going to make things a lot harder as well.
The tank's not sieging up. He's a bit, you know, timid about that with all those Broodlords around.
Yeah. And I mean, these two Vikings actually creating a lot of havoc. 4 Vikings now. It's going to be almost impossible to keep these these Brood Lords alive.
Okay, he's going to go for the engagement here. Hellbat's helping to zone this out. And even tanks in tank mode can do a ton of damage to this ground army. The Thors need to target.
Oh, mines from below as well going to be working on the Queens, it looks like.
Yep. The Vikings still uncontested here. A few Corruptors now join in, but this is just way too much anti-area damage on those Thors, and this should be game.
Just a meat grinder.
GG.
Never want to fight into that thing, but I mean, if it's your last option, you might as well go for it.
His economy was gone. He had just lost way too much damage. Those Widow Mines were like the last nail in the coffin because, simply put, the game was close. TY was ahead, but that was just way too much damage. He could not deal with those. He had an issue with either having detection or spines. Like, some bases had spines, some bases had detection, but very few bases had both. So the Widow Mines just got a ton of damage done, plus the burrowing clause. And the army that Rogue had was not mobile. He barely had any Zerglings, and his Queens are with the main army. You're not going to defend Widow Mines with Ultras and Brood Lords. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, it was at that point, I think the real damage came from when simply that Banshee Hellbat timing at the start created so much economic damage on that they stopped it from mining for so long, to the point where it put him so far behind. He never found the answer for mech. He never even scouted the mech until it was kind of like such an awkward place to be. It's like, oh, you're going mech. I better start upgrading my units and go to Hive. And from there, like, you never want to be there as a Zerg player.